Well, hello, and it is Friday, the Friday before the Six Nations W2 Week 2 starts. And this is a view from the sideline, and I am Senior Mash. Well, Week 1, my team of the tournament so far, Ireland, incredibly well played against England. Still recovering from how England were unable to take the game forward in the second half. No matter which analysis I've watched or listened to, it's still not clear to me. But Ireland, you were superb, and you get my Week 1 team. And yes, I'm Senior Mash. I reflect on all things rugby. Normally I talk National League rugby. However, at this time of the year, the Six Nations dominates rugby fans and non-rugby fans alike. Sports fans love the Six Nations, and I do thank you for getting involved with this. This week we see Italy play Wales in Rome, England play France in London. I put London because I'm not sure whether it's the Allianz or Twickenham. 2:15 p.m. UK and 4:45, and you can see there Will Kelleher talking about Maro Itoje, asking that the Six Nations remains free to air, something that I think is really important and should be encouraged. The popularity of this Six Nations needs all teams to be playing well, and none better than Scotland and Ireland, who on Sunday will be taking to the field up in Edinburgh, Murrayfield. And good to see that ScotRail are encouraging supporters to get there by train Sunday the 9th of February, 3 p.m. So Wales have picked a very similar team to last week, although Tulupi Faletau is back, aged 34, at number 8, and I'm sure keen to make a big difference in this team. For me, do keep an eye out for Will Rowlands, Jack Morgan. They're playing in the forwards, a second row and a back row. And Nick Tompkins, he of Saracens, plays in the centres. I thought he was fairly influential in a very difficult match last week. Rowlands and Morgan were superb, so I'm sure they'll deliver more this week. Italy, well, they've gone with a very strong team. Still like the looks of this team. There's so much more they can bring. Switched over in the second row, Dino Lam of Harlequins going onto the bench, and Nicola Canoni is in the starting lock position. For me this week, do take a look in the front row with Daniello Fischette in the 9 and 10, but look particularly at Paolo Garbisi at 10. And at 15, fullback Tommaso Allen. I think these three players could pose big problems, and I would imagine that there's been a lot of work done on how to counter-attack against an Italian team that has undoubted flair. For Scotland, they're playing Ireland, and it's interesting that they've had to call up Sam Skinner as a replacement for the second row pairing of Johnny Gray and Grant Gilchrist. That will be interesting. And they've actually gone with Tom Jordan in the centres. Fairly smart move in my opinion. That's not to say that he's on my player to watch list. No, I've gone with Hugh Jones, Finn Russell and Duan van der Merwe on the wing. So all backs for Scotland, and I think if they play well, they can dominate this game. However, they're up against Ireland, and Ireland are a cracking team. As they proved last week, they can withstand the pressure. They've made a switch in the centres. Robbie Henshaw's come into the team, and Gary Ringrose is on the bench. I also noted with interest that Sam Prendergast has kept his starting position. And with that in mind, he would be one of my key players to watch this weekend alongside Bundy Aki and Van der Vliet in the back row. I'm not so convinced that the Irish back row weren't somewhat outclassed last week by the English, despite the result. So work to do, I think, for the Irish back row. France playing England. Well, they've lost Ntamak because of that ridiculous high tackle. And rather than going with Thomas Ramos at fly half, they've actually gone with Mathieu Jalibert, and I think that's a good move. In addition, Damien Penaud has arrived onto the wing. For me, Jalibert and Penaud have got the capability to change the match and are very likely to do that against England. Got to say, Mani Mefu in the second row looks a very, very talented player, and I would encourage you to keep an eye on how he plays against England's Maro Itoje and George Martin. Quite unbelievably, in my opinion, Ben Curry has been put on the bench and Tom Willis has come in at number 8 with Ben Earl moving to open side flanker. Wouldn't have done that myself. I do think that is a mistake by Borthwick. Interested to see how Finn Smith at 10 and Marcus Smith at 15 go. I'm sure we all will be. But my players to watch are very much Maro Itoje, Ellis Genge and Henry Slade. And I say that because one of the things that we missed out on last week in that second half was leadership from some of our more senior players. And these three fit that bill. Guys, you've got to stand up as leaders. So that's Senior Mash talking rugby union and the Six Nations. Six Nations, very important. Watch it on TV, get to the game, listen to it on the radio. My predictions: in Rome, it's going to be Wales. In Edinburgh, it's going to be Ireland. And in London, it's going to be England. Those are the way I see the games. There's plenty of statistics around the Six Nations. Opta Johnny is a good source. You can see here Will Kelleher in the Times using stats about DuPont Seven's career. Very interesting. I'm Senior Mash. I appreciate you listening in, watching him. And for me, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, give it a thumbs up. It's at Senior Mash. Also appears via Talking Rugby Union and their YouTube channels. If you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, put some comments in. Important that you get involved, engage, because that way we can spread the word about rugby union. And if you're interested in what at Senior Mash does, then subscribe. What to subscribe to? Well, it's Substack, the media that I'm using to write and talk about various things. And with thanks to Talking Rugby Union, they're putting this content out on YouTube for a wider rugby audience to watch. The guys at TRU are quite outstanding. They deserve your support. Talking Rugby Union is fiercely independent, tries its utmost to encourage young journalists, young players, young coaches. Give them a follow. And most of all, many thanks to Six Nations, Rugby social media and Talking Rugby Union for the superb content that they produce and that I'm allowed to take a snapshot and share with you.